That's the opening size that I'm going with right now. Morning. This has to be one of the nicest mornings we've had out here. It's in the 50s. Oh, it's just absolutely gorgeous out here. But today we're going to talk about DGL. We're going to talk about dark green lawn, the new fertilizer that I asked Anderson's to develop, and it's been several months, and finally everything's done and it has hit. So we'll talk about that. There's probably going to be confusion when to use this in comparison to something like Green Shocker. So I'll go over those points. So you need to kind of pay attention. If you're considering using DGL, follow me and stick with me on this. Doesn't that look gorgeous? We came out here with a new McLean reel mower yesterday. We cut this. This is just, I am so thrilled with this. I don't know if it's going to last through the Georgia summer, but right now it's gorgeous. First, let me go over my shipment hit. Let me go over and show you the DGL first. Let's go over and do that. So before I go over and show you my DGL order, I placed 2 orders. This is hysterical. I was laughing so hard the other day. I placed an order for here for the farm property, and then I placed an order for the beach house. My lawn guy down there is going to put DGL down on that lawn down there because it really needs a nitrogen push. But I knew that it came because my camera went off down at the basement, down at the beach house, and it was late in the day. And it was 1 box, all 3 bags, so it was about 60-pound box. And my UPS guy, now if language offends you, I'm sorry, I'm an old jarhead Marine, so it doesn't bother me, but you gotta watch this clip. I was laughing so hard. Oh, motherfucker. Dude, I like my UPS guy. I felt bad for him at the end of the day dragging that box because he's got to walk around our picket fence. He's got to come up under, poor guy. Anyways, I thought that was hysterical. Let me walk over there and show you my order for here. So this is DGL, dark green lawn. That's what she looks like right there. Now, one other benefit to this is this fertilizer is mostly white and gray in color, so you'll be able to see it going out. The only problem with Green Shocker is it's solid black and you can't see it going out. You really got to trust your lines of Green Shocker, but I love Green Shocker down in my pond. So I'll come out here, I'll hit this with some DGL. I've got a little portable sprinkler, or I'll water it in and just give this a little bit of extra shot of nitrogen. It'll be perfect for this. It's great for startup because when a seed actually germinates and it starts that initial growth, just a little bit of nitrogen on that is going to be absolutely perfect for it. So if you have a new seeding project, throw down a little bit of DGL and get a little bit of punch of nitrogen in there. It'll work out great. Okay, so let's touch on what DGL is and why I asked Anderson's to actually come up with this product. There are times, first of all, nitrogen is the #1 nutrient that's going to turn your lawn green and make it grow, plain and simple. Every other nutrient that involves sort of supports that process and is not a major nutrient per se and has a major effect like nitrogen does. They're all sort of these supportive things. So phosphorus and potassium and copper and zinc and manganese and all these things are not as critical as nitrogen. So there are some times where I just want to add some nitrogen. The problem being is if you just want pure nitrogen, like a 2500, it's going to be these big round balls that are horrible for particle distribution. Now, one of the things I am absolutely set on is fine particle size. Fine particle size is the only way that you can do a light application of a nitrogen on a lawn and have good particle distribution. In other words, every blade of grass has a particle near it, and do it at a light rate. You can't do it with anything else. So that's why PGF Complete, Green Shocker, PGF Balance, every single fertilizer is a fine particle distribution. Next, it does have iron in it, but most people know that granular iron is really hard for grasses to uptake, especially based on your pH and a few other factors. So yes, I had them add some iron to it just because a lot of people are going to say, why doesn't it have iron? So we added the iron to it, but the main reaction you're going to see is from this fast release nitrogen. Now, what's the difference between instant release, fast release and slow release. Let's cover that real quick. Instant release is almost like a liquid. So if you were to spray your lawn with nitrogen, that's instant. You water it, it gets down to the roots, and it starts working right away. Green shocker is an instant release. Green shocker is the size of salt. It is extremely fine particle. I use it all the time. It's one of my favorite fertilizers, but it's a 712 and it's very mild. Now, green shocker, you could put down anytime. It's so mild. You can put it out in the summertime. You can put it out wherever. I use it a lot. I use it on my putting greens and I use it on the pond front because it's an instant release. So when you put that in water or water touches it, it melts right away and goes right in. You'll see a mild greening effect. Usually within 3 to 5 days, you can see green shocker. Love green shocker, great product. Well, what's the difference between an instant release and a fast release? A fast release is a particle that doesn't necessarily dissolve. In other words, if you put it in water, it's not going to instantly dissolve, but it's going to quickly melt. So when you put out DGL, it's going to quickly melt with irrigation. It requires water to work. So once you put it out, you have to have a rain event or you have to irrigate it. You have to run the irrigation, run your irrigation, run your irrigation. And once that melts and gets into your lawn, you're going to see an amazing result. I'm going to show you some lines out here. So usually that takes, anywhere from 3 to 6 days to work down into the roots. But once that gets in there, you're going to see an immediate growth surge and darkening of the lawn. A slow release fertilizer is designed to release over a longer period. So it either has a coating on it that slowly melts away, or they have now particles that are actually a polymer. It's actually a plastic that contains nitrogen. And in PGF Complete, the little green pieces, if you see them, that's actually a polymer. And it actually releases and melts slowly, so it feeds long term. So you can put it down and it will feed from 4 to 6 weeks or however long it is. So that's it. So you have instant, fast, and slow release. That's the difference between them. So when would you use DGL? I use it sort of as a supplement, and especially at different times of the year. So I come out here, and the first thing I did this year on this lawn is I put down, for my main fertilizer, I put down PGF Complete. Now, PGF Complete is a 4:1:2 ratio. It's a 16:4:8, which is a 4:1:2, which basically every ag office in the world will tell you without a soil test, put down a 4:1:2 ratio. So PGF Complete is a 16:4:8. You put it out, it has micros and everything else. That's your base fertilizer. But all of a sudden, temperatures start to rise up in the 80s. You've done your scalp and you want to push that lawn a little bit. You can come out like a week or two later and put out a light coated DGL, that extra nitrogen, to sort of give that extra push. Got it? So we always use mild fertilizers, but there are times where you want a little bit extra push of that nitrogen. So come out here. Another example, I had a guy send me a soil report and I looked at it and all his nutrients were actually high or excessive. So the only thing he really needed to put down was nitrogen and basically DGL. So if you've got high phosphorus and you've got high potassium, the only thing that you're really going to need is you're going to need some nitrogen. So put down some DGL, that'll green up the lawn, make it grow fast, be perfect. Now, the bag rate. I believe the bag rate is stated as 5,000 square feet on the bag rate. So an 18-pound bag will cover 5,000 square feet. You can put it out a little bit lighter, which is kind of what I do as a supplement. So I maybe push that bag to 6,000 square feet. You can sort of vary that a little bit. But I do want to warn you that on these fine particle fertilizers, you're going to see numbers on the bag. I get it. I don't rely on numbers. I never rely on numbers. So what I do is I look at the opening size of my spreader. And I say all the time, for green shocker, you're about 1/8 of an inch. For DGL, you're going to be maybe just under 1/4 of an inch, like 3/8 of an inch. That's where you want to start. You want to put it out light. I would much rather have you come back and have to do a second round of it than actually come out and have a 1/2 inch hole and just put it out too heavy. You do not want to put it out at a heavy rate. You want to put it out light. Same thing with PGF Complete. PGF Complete, you're going to put it out at about a 3/8 of an inch opening. Put it out. It's light. It's mild. It's all about mild applications. You can come out and do multiple mild applications because you get a storm come by, you cut your grass, the particles move. That's why I really like those mild applications repeatedly versus coming out and dumping a whole bunch of fertilizer down. So let me go ahead and show you some test stripes that we did. So I put, when they first, Anderson sent me a bag, pre-production bag, and I put a stripe down to the dock over there, and then I put a stripe back over here. Ooh, that sun's bright. A stripe all the way back down here. And what we did is we treated that stripe and the area around it exactly the same. So if I watered that stripe, I watered 6 feet on the other side of it. Same back here. If I watered that stripe, I watered 6 feet on either side of it. So we wanted it to be a true comparison. And let me tell you what, even John was saying, he said, dude, that's just absolutely incredible. That was twice as dark. The stripes were twice as dark and were growing twice as fast and twice as long. It was absolutely amazing. And so basically what it will tell you is that a lot of times your plants just want some nitrogen. So this is where DGL comes out. That's the purpose of it, especially in the springtime. I always talk about the push zone. If you start to get into the 80s consistently, and we're talking about probably late April, May and June is that push zone for warm season lawns. And if you're a cool season guy, same thing, you're gonna have a push zone. That's the time that you kind of want to have a little bit of extra nitrogen and push that grass. It's not something you'd want to start popping down in the summertime, obviously, when you got a drought, there's stress conditions, but when you want to push it, it's great. In the fall, for you cool season guys, when you want that extra nitrogen, this is a fantastic fertilizer for fall. So you can also put it down for fall. So here's a good example. I could put green shocker down here, but I'm actually going to put, since I've got the DGL, I'm actually going to put some DGL here. Why? I haven't had a soil test done here, so I don't know what this soil is going to tell me, but I know this new seed is going to want some nitrogen. New seed likes a little bit of nitrogen. Not a whole bunch, but a little bit. I still have a bunch of roots and sticks we got to clean up here, but I'm going to put some of this down. I'll put a little water on it, and then in probably about 3 or 4 days, we have some rain coming in, and that's all I need to do. But I want to show you the opening size. That's the opening size that I'm going with right now. Small. And that's really the way I want you guys to work all these fertilizers, is keep that opening size just a little bit larger than the largest size of particle. That's the way I always say it, and you'll get a good distribution. But I've got this put out extremely fine, extremely light settings, but look at all the particles. Just in this one little circle, there's got to be 20 particles. This is a super light coat. All right, since I've got that bag open, and I only use about maybe 1/3 of a bag over there, I'm gonna go ahead, and since I don't have any rain coming in for the next 5 days, I'm actually gonna put it on this pond front. So I've got the rest of the bag in here, and I'm going to put it on here, a light coat, and then I'm going to start every morning. I'm going to come out here and run my irrigation and get that to go down in, because I've got new seed germinating here. I'm going to be in 80s for the next 5 days. That Bermuda should germinate, and this will just be a little bit of nitrogen here. So here's something I want you to understand that a lot of people don't understand, and that's basically that almost every part of a plant likes nitrogen and uses nitrogen. So blades of grass, roots use nitrogen, flowers use nitrogen, leaves use nitrogen. So nitrogen is a really important part, especially when forming proteins, but it does a bunch of other stuff. So it's a really important part, and I think something that you can focus on a little bit more when it comes to your grass, and that's why DGL exists. You can control it, light coats, fast release. It's just a really cool product. Hope you try it. Talk to you later. Doc. The wind. Now you have to admit, there's a certain sense of accomplishment and pride when a lawn looks like that. Really? When you finish cutting a lawn and you step back and you sort of look at it, you're like, man, it just looks good. I mean, it makes you feel good, man, when you get done with it. I mean, even he was back here cutting this, that looks good. The pond looks good. It's just that sense, you know, when you get done with it, you're driving off and you're looking at it going, I did that. I did that. You do that on all your lawns, don't you?
Yep.
I did that.